Well, good evening, everybody. It's Friday night in some parts. It's Saturday morning in some parts as well. It's Saturday morning where I'm at, and BKFC's KnuckleMania just came to an end, and we saw Paige VanZant fight gallantly and valiantly in her BKFC debut, but unfortunately, she was on the wrong end of a unanimous decision to a very gritty and very game Britain Hart. Huge win for her, and we wish her a big heartfelt congratulations. It was a fun night of bare knuckle action in Florida. It was a crazy event, had a little bit of everything, and we're going to talk all about it with all of you guys. I am Mike Heck, being joined by Damon Martin, who is here. We don't have video of Damon, but his melodious voice will be here. Damon, how are you, sir?
Damon, hello. Oh, yeah.
Damon is
Damon,
so enthralled with the event.
You are muted, Damon. I see that you're muted. It's on your side. I can't unmute you, sir. Damon, everything went so well.
We figured that out
until we pressed live.
Well, how are you, Casey?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. You know, just Friday night, talking about some fist fighting.
That was a fun event.
Oh, dude, I am not Josh Gross. I am not Mr. Grumpy. I enjoy a good fist fight for a bag of money. So yeah, I had some issues with the event, but overall, very fun. Damon, can we hit Damon up on? I'll message him right now.
I just did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he is I have him as he is muted, but that's from his end.
You said he has no idea why.
What?
Should we have him hop out and hop back in, maybe?
Yeah, if he can just log back in. Tell him that.
If you can hear us, Damon.
Okay, he just logged out.
Okay, cool. Well, while we wait for his arrival, Britain Hart comes through with a big win against Paige VanZant. And it seemed like early on, Casey,
Damon, can we hear you?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yeah. It was because I complained about the music because I was like, I like the music, but we just watched BKFC, so I felt like it should have been like Five Finger Death Punch or something coming in.
Welcome to the post-fight show, Damon. So, all right, I'll start with you now that you're here. Britain Hart gets a big win over Paige VanZant. Paige showed a lot of gusto in the fight. She showed she could take some shots. She can land some shots. The fifth round, she showed a little bit of urgency, and that was definitely her best round of the fight. But what did you think of the performance? Paige making her BKFC debut, there were a lot of questions. Did you think, outside of not getting the win, do you think she answered a lot of those questions from some of the critics who questioned her decision to sign with BKFC?
To a point. I mean, I think obviously she avoided a brutal knockout, which would have been probably the worst way for her debut to go. But obviously she still lost, and outside of that fifth round, it was a fairly lopsided fight. I mean, Britain was landing the better punches. She looked more comfortable in the pocket. Paige used a lot of footwork in the opening round, but then even when she got in the clinch, she couldn't really land the punches. Britain was hitting her to the body. She just never really let her hands go. It looked like she focused a lot on her defense, which prevented her from eating too many punches, but she did have a pretty good mouse under her eye, and Britain had a stinger of her right hand that just kept clubbing Paige all night long. So not a bad showing at all, but obviously a disappointing, night for her that she didn't get the win, but she did stick around to the final bell. And, to her credit, Britain Hart's now a four-time veteran of BKFC, so they didn't throw her, like a give-me opponent for her debut.
Yeah, Britain has come a long way. She has absolutely paid her dues, and she gets better and better with each fight. What did you think of the main event, Casey? Britain Hart's performance, even Paige VanZant's performance?
Paige VanZant, I'm making a lot of trying to look inside of her head here, but I think she was fighting not to lose. I don't think she was fighting to win, especially at the beginning of the fight. I think it took her a few rounds. I don't know if it's ring rust. I don't know if she's just maybe just uncomfortable with the environment because unfamiliar with the environment. I mean, obviously she is unfamiliar with the environment, but it just took her way too long to get warm in there. It wasn't until that, I predicted Britain was going to win this, but I thought the path to victory for Paige to win was just her pure just aggression and just go forward, and just use that toughness and just blah blah blah. But we really didn't see that till the 5th round. When if the Paige in the 5th round would have showed up in round 1, we have a completely different fight. But that wasn't the case. Paige, I think like Damon said, it wasn't the worst case scenario. She gave a respectable performance tonight for sure. She's got to get better. I don't know if she didn't get knocked out, but no one ever really thought Paige was a great stand-up striker, especially for hand in the first place. So I think that's why we were all a little bit shocked this even was happening in the first place. But Britain Hart looked very good tonight, and Paige looked rusty, I guess.
Did you guys heard the rumors, right? About like going into this, there was a rumor that they were talking about potentially matching her up against Rachel Ostovich. Did you guys hear that rumor? There was a rumor going around, like there was a rumor that like, I don't mean any offense. I'm not saying this like as a dig to Rachel Ostovich, but like I feel like Paige would have done a lot better with somebody with an equal 0-0 record, because you could tell, like, I think she was so focused, as Casey said, not to lose. Like, she was so focused on her defense of not eating punches that, like, she had her hands held high. Good job doing that. Good footwork. She never got hit with, like, a really, really big shot. Britain did tag her a few times, but she never got really blasted. But she never really let her offense go. And you feel like maybe that's that nervousness of, throwing bare knuckle for the first time. Like, you feel like maybe if she would have fought someone with, another 0-0 fighter, maybe it would have gone differently. But again, Britain's a, 3-time fighter. She went, she went 5 rounds with Beck Rawlings in her debut. She just won a 4th round TKO. So, I mean, she had like legit bare knuckle experience. And man, I got to tell you, watching these fights tonight, like I've watched a lot of bare knuckle fighting championships, but like every time I watch it, like I'm flinching and clenching, like, because it's just like, man, like, it's like so real when they're throwing these punches. So you're kind of like, yeah, like that's not easy to step into.
Yeah, I mean the first fight on the main card, Charissa Sagala and Taylor Jenkins. Good God, those two, good for them. That fight was crazy. They looked like 2 completely different people when it was all said and done. But yeah, it's one of those sports that like you watch it, it's like, man, this is raw, this is real, this is what it's all about.
Well, one thing you could tell why it was so real. And 2 of the fights toward the end, Chris Leydon's opponent and there's another one I forget, but they got punched in the face, and both of them thought they lost their eye. They both thought they got eye poked. But it turned out no, that's what it feels like when you get a bare knuckle right in your eyeball. So it is a different type of pain to get hit with a bare fist, even versus just. Because knuckles are sharp, so they really dig in. So especially those like we hit right here, like in the eye socket, it is a very painful feeling for sure.
So Damon, you are obviously more experienced in this realm than I am. I will say that there was only one media member that covered the Valor BK event in South Dakota a couple of years back, and it was I. So I watched Mark Godbeer almost kill Jack May that night, and that was a very interesting night of fights. But the big story coming out of this event was not Britain Hart beating Paige VanZant, but there was this mystery woman who came into the ring at the end and started a skirmish with Britain Hart, and then Britain Hart just cut this tremendous promo at the end that just I couldn't get enough of. Like, I wanted to go on for 15 more minutes. It was that good. Do you know who this woman was, Damon?
So it is another person from BKFC, and I'm falling short right now trying to come up with her name, but it is somebody else from BKFC. She was ringside, and I want to say it was because I think they had a fight either earlier in the night or it was the last event, and I think it's her, but I can't remember. The name is like completely escaping me, but it is a BKFC person. So yeah, I don't think it was planned. I think we saw that with the other one with I think it was Reggie Barnett jumping into the Datton to win after he won the fight. Like, he just randomly jumped in the ring, and then we had this other girl throwing water bottles. I was like, that's what I tweeted after the fight. I was like, BKFC really needs to work on their ringside security, because like they just got everybody hopping in the ring.
But do they? Do they really need to work on it? Because I don't know. I feel like just get on in there, guys. Like whatever COVID protocols there were, Yeah, there were maybe recommended protocols. I don't think anything was actually enforced because there were like 60 people in that ring. So
yeah, the whole socially distanced crowd thing, like I kept watching the crowd shots and I was like, nobody is 6 feet apart. Like nobody at all is 6 feet apart in this crowd.
They had like tables up front. There was like 20, 25 people. And then like literally like it seemed like 11 inches to their left and their right, there's another table of 20 to 25 people. But hey, listen, it's Florida. They do things a little bit differently, and it is what it is. The co-main event was an awesome fight.
Yes.
Dat Win and Johnny Bedford. That was a terrific fight. I thought Dat Win won. It was very close. I think I probably have to go back and watch it like when I'm not doing other things. But from what I saw, I thought Dat Win won the fight. What did you think, Casey? Do you think the judges got that one right?
Yes, they scored it right. I can't break it down round by round, but I definitely felt Dat Win won the fight. It was a great fight. It was just, man, like, was it five? Are they 2-minute rounds, bare knuckle?
Yeah,
2-minute rounds.
So 5 2-minute rounds. Those gentlemen fought for 10 minutes straight, and it was nonstop. It was really exciting. It was technical. It was brawly. It just had everything, and just great performance. And clearly that's fight. They need to run that fight back. Well, I guess Reggie Barnett, but I don't know what's going on with him. But that was weird, but a very fun weird. Yeah. I'm just kind of, as a fan, I'm a big Johnny Bedford fan. I really like watching him fight. I didn't know too much about Dat Win. I heard good things about him. I saw the highlights. But excellent fight. Just great fight, and I was actually very impressed that the judges did score correctly. And from what I looked on Twitter, most people seem to say they had Dat Win edging it out too. So it doesn't seem like to be any sort of robbery.
Yeah, it was an awesome fight. What'd you think of the title fight, Damon?
Yeah, I had it 3-2 for Dat to win. No controversy there. Great fight though, man. Because Bedford came after him early, and Dat tagged him up pretty hard. You saw Bedford was rocked. I think it was the end of the second round where he was wobbled pretty hard, and then he came back. He landed some hard shots of his own later in the fight, but it just seemed like Dat was the more accurate fighter, better counter punches throughout the fight, and it was weird because Johnny had so much size on him in terms of like his height and reach. Like you were kind of waiting for Johnny to actually use that, but he kept like kind of diving on the inside and like kind of negating his own reach, like not throwing straight punches. When he actually did throw straight punches, it seemed like Johnny was landing better, but he just kept, like he was closing his own distance. Like he kept diving in on Dat, and then Dat was able to like counterpunch him. So it was a really good fight. And I have a feeling, I think Johnny Bedford was like 5-0 going into that fight. So I feel like they're going to end up, I think they're going to end up running that one back. And I don't think anyone will complain. It was a fun fight.
Yeah, Reggie Barnett can wait.
Yeah.
If you guys got some questions, I'll admit I was hyped for Dat Win, and he fulfilled the hype. Been a fan of Dat's for a while now. Yeah, that was a great fight. Before we get into some more questions about this event, because there is a lot to talk about, Casey, I'm going to start with you. I don't know how BKFC's like bonus structure is, but let's say it's similar to the UFC's, where they give like 2 performance bonuses and they give a fight of the night. Who are you giving it to?
Fight of the night, clearly Bedford win. Other 2 performance of the nights. Chris Leydon. Obviously, yeah. You know what? Give Chris Leydon the 2 other performance bonuses right there. So there you go. Chris Leydon 2 performance bonuses. And fight of the night for a Bedford win.
Yeah, Chris Leydon had basically 2 knockouts.
Yeah.
So yeah, he should get a performance bonus.
Oh, can we talk about? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll talk about Chris Leydon's fight in a little. I want to talk about Chris Leydon's fight in a moment, but yeah, go on.
Yes,
sorry.
we will. I would give it to Leydon. I'd give it to John Chalbeck too. That dude looked awesome. I know he fought a fellow Massachusetts guy who, I don't know, he was a little outmatched, but he was like the quintessential Massachusetts fighter where he just took a beating but kept coming and then still landed shots as awkward as they looked. But man, that Chalbeck kid, that was his first bare knuckle fight. He looked awesome. He looked really, really good. Even Chris Lytle was like,
you knocked out the guy with the mustache, right? Is that?
No.
Yeah,
he fought the guy with the mustache.
Yeah, sorry. A lot of these names are new to me, so I'm trying to,
He fought Greg Bono.
I tell you what, I think I agree Dat Nguyen and Johnny Bedford get fight tonight, but I'm going to throw out like Another one, because I thought the earlier fight, just because it was a battle, and even though it was kind of lopsided, it was still a fun fight, was the Taylor Starling, Carissa Segala fight. Like, that was a really fun fight to kick off the card. And the other one I want to mention, I would agree, Chris Lieben, of course, naturally you give it to him. And obviously I would say, because I don't think you have to get a knockout to get a performance bonus. I think it's one thing I wish the UFC would actually change. But I would say Britain Hart, obviously you got to give her a performance bonus for doing what she did. But the other one I would mention is Haim Ghazali, Bellator veteran, 47 years old, getting a knockout. That was crazy.
I actually messaged Damon on Slack. I'm like, holy shit, Haim Ghazali is on this card. And man, that was so crazy. That was awesome. I remember interviewing Haim Ghazali before his last Bellator fight, because him and his son fought on the same card in Connecticut. It was that night. It was that Bellator event where like every fight ended in a finish. It was like a clean sweep, finishes from start to finish. And like his son like broke the submission record, like the quickest submission in Bellator history.
Son. Oh, I didn't know that was the son. Okay, and now I'm putting it all together now. I remember that now. Yeah, wow, cool.
Was that the Mitrione? Was that the Mitrione? Was it the? Oh God, was that why am I the Russian? The Russian. Why am I not thinking of his name?
I know he's.
I can
Haratonov?
Yeah, Karatanov. There you go. Karatanov.
Yes,
that's the one. Yeah, that was the main event. I remember that. Okay.
Yes, it was that card. It was a fun one. And I remember interviewing him, and he was like, yeah, this is my last fight. And then I'm going to, do some other things, find some other things that I love. I'm like, all right, well, like what? He goes, I want to do bare knuckle fighting. I'm like, what?
Oh, he said
like,
that?
You are such a savage. Yeah. He's like, I was like, you're just such a savage. He goes, yeah, I just want to try it. I was like, you're like 45 years old. I was like, don't you want to like not fight anymore? He goes, listen, I'm still young enough. I could still go. I want to try it. And damn it, he looked pretty damn good tonight.
I was about to say, because it said he was 47 years old, and the dude had like a 6-pack. I'm like, I don't know what protein shakes he's drinking, man, but man, Florida Commission, yeah, whatever, yeah.
Florida gonna Florida.
Yeah, Florida. Hey, but good for him.
Yeah, that was a fun one too. Like that was because if I remember, the night kind of is a blur now, but he got knocked down early and then comes back and gets the knockout. So that was a really cool fight too.
Yeah.
Like it was. I tell you, I'm not. Listen, I know bare knuckles not for everybody. I'm not going to sit here and say that it can be tough to watch at moments and it can be brutal and things like that, but it is fun, man. Like I said, they've had a few fun events. I mean, listen, if you didn't enjoy the build up to Artem Lobov and Paulie Malignaggi, I mean, that was one of the biggest fights of 2019. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, say what you will about bare knuckle. That was a huge buildup, and that was fun. And they've had some, I mean, obviously the Jason Knight, Artem Lobov fights have been fun. So, like I said, it's not for everybody. I'm not going to tell you to, like, you have to go buy their events or anything, but they've had some fun events.
I agree. Oh, big shout out to Dylan Kleckler too. He had a nice body shot KO early on against Chris Jensen. So that was a good finish. That was brutal.
Oh, that straight shot right to the ribs. Oh, that was awesome.
Ooh. He was Dunsky like right away. That Dylan Kleckler, go look at his record, man. That guy is very successful. Great MMA career, doing really well in BKFC too.
So who lost? The Hawaiian kid that lost to the
Zach Zane.
Zach Zane. It's just all these guys that fight bare knuckle. They come from such unique, different kind of organizations. Like I didn't realize he was the guy that was supposed to fight Nick Newell in Bellator.
Yep.
And Nick Newell got COVID, and so he had, I guess I'll bare knuckle. So it's so interesting how each fighter's journey to get there is. That's kind of
That was a reaction. Mike mentioned it, but that was a reaction of us talking earlier with Haim fighting. He literally messaged me. He's like, "Oh my god, he's fighting!" And so you just never know.
Oh, and also, so we probably want to talk about this, but Lorenzo Hunt, the guy that knocked out Ron Murrah, and that kind of it was kind of a boring fight to the knockout. Did he have glitter on him? I swear he looked like he had some glitter lotion on him. Like he was like just shiny. He had the two dancers come out of him, but then it clearly wasn't choreographed correctly because the dancers came out first and then they came back to the beginning. Like they did the walkout twice. It was like I love a good shit show. So that was great.
They danced and walked so quickly. Like they were out of the shot immediately. And then Lorenzo Hunt's just there dancing by himself. It was great. The whole thing was great. The showmanship, And listen, the arena looked great. Like it looked like a big deal. It looked like a big deal. Like KnuckleMania was like the perfect name for it because it was like a WrestleMania-esque setup for an event like that. It looked great. It looked great.
Yeah.
And
so I've actually,
Damon.
I don't know if you know, Mike. I've been to like two bare knuckle events. I was at the first one, and no, I was at three. I've been at three. I was at the first and second one, and I was at the Artem Poly one. And dude, like I know people want to shit on bare knuckle, man, but they're live. They're fun. It makes the fighting is fun. I don't know. It just is.
Let me say this also, and this is a tough one because and Casey and Mike, you both know this because we've covered a lot of like non-UFC Bellator shows over the years. Production on a regional or like a first time, second time kind of like show can be really, really rough. And I know this wasn't a first time BKFC show. This obviously they've had whatever it is, 16, 17 big cards, but like a big pay-per-view like this, like production value was great. I mean, the video looked great. Kudos to Fight TV and the other people who are producing the pay-per-view. Like I never had a problem all night. There was no buffering, no problems with the pay-per-view. The camera work was great. Like there wasn't like any of that kind of like B-League stuff you expect out of a card when you see something that's not, UFC or Bellator when they've been doing it for years and years and years. You kind of expect to be like, kind of a C-level show. And it looked great. Production was great. Sound was great. Like little things that can kind of, I won't say ruin a show, but can definitely bring it down a notch. They got all that across the board, man. And Dave Feldman, the president, I've interviewed him many, many times. He gets it, man. He understands the sport. He gets it, puts on a good show. And again, it's not for everybody. I'm not going to tell you it is, but it's fun.
And I hope for those who are watching who play the ponies and bet, I hope you didn't listen to Mystic Zach, because if you did, you probably lost some money tonight. I just want to throw that out there. Good old Mystic Zach coming in and trying to make some picks and steer people in the right direction. But yeah, it was a good event overall. But my one thing that I will say about bare knuckle that I wish they would do better, and it's just for our sake and for theirs as well. Put some clips on social media. When there's a big finish, put those clips on social media so we can put them up there and promote your card and get you some extra views, especially if you're monetizing your social media, which you probably are with the amount of followers you have. Put some clips up there so we can share them, so we can do some stuff with them. Like we wanted to write up some of these finishes and we couldn't find them anywhere unless someone ripped off the video and we didn't want to do any gimmick infringement type stuff. So just put some clips up there. Other than that, tremendous night for them. But we have to talk about Chris Leydon. Yeah. We do have to talk about Chris Leydon.
Before we go to Chris Leydon, I have to my gripe, and I'm hoping bare knuckle is listening. Man, two issues. Just from a very video production standpoint, it was killing me. And regional promotions do this all the time. They go to the dang jib camera, the overhead camera, way too much. Way too much. There were so many times you were probably watching it, and these guys are punching each other, or ladies punching each other, you're beating the crap out of each other, and there's a camera guy this close to them. Yet we're at this big jib camera about 30 feet away. It was just killing me. Like there's camera guys right there. I want to be right there because that's the charm of bare knuckle, is that it's kind of brutal, and you want to see these little fists punch them in the face. You want to hear that. And Mr. Director, I know you have a tough job. I know lots of things are going on, but just cut to the better cameras faster, please. All right, Mr. Leydon. Sorry.
There you go.
Sorry.
All right, Chris Leydon, Damon. What a performance! He basically got 2 knockouts and ended. It was like the perfect Chris Leydon exit. Like he had a wild firefight with a very tough guy, gets the win, rides off into the sunset, cuts a Chris Leydon-esque promo at the end. It was great. It was just the perfect way you want to go out. So what did you think of his win? And, at this point, it kind of looking back at his career and all the legendary fights he had and all the wars, what's kind of his legacy in your mind?
I mean, I know, again, I'm not saying that everyone should go out of their career as a bare knuckle fighter, but it's kind of like the perfect ending for Chris Leydon because he was always kind of that blood and guts, kind of, throw until one guy falls over kind of fighter. That's just who he was. And, win, lose, or draw, you knew if you were getting into a fight with Chris Leydon, it was going to be a fight. And so it's kind of perfect for him to go out as a bare knuckle fighter at 40 years old. And, Chris has fought a lot of demons in his career, man, inside and outside the octagon. He talked about in his post-fight speech. He was very, very brutally honest about that. And when you see a guy at 40 stepping in there for one last fight, you're kind of cringing a little bit. You're like, man, I kind of expect the worst because, sadly, so few fighters in combat sports, and this goes across boxing, MMA, whatever. Rarely do they go out standing, and rarely do they go out in a memorable way that's a good way. Usually you're like, oh God, man, I wish you would have stopped, or oh man, you don't want your last image of a guy being. And listen, the guy's a legend. I was like Anderson Silva, man, seeing him down on the canvas, getting knocked out by Uriah Hall. Like that's just not the image I wish I had of that guy for his last fight. There's so few George St. Pierre moments where a guy goes out on a win, or Khabib Nurmagomedov where a guy goes out on a win. So seeing Chris Leydon out there throwing punches one last time, knocking a guy out basically twice in one fight, it lasts a minute 7. He doesn't really take any damage. Again, perfect way for him to go out. And I know it's an MMA or a combat sports retirement, so that pretty much means nothing in this sport. But I hope he is done. I hope I hope he can gladly go out with that kind of win.
Yeah, I'd like to see him reffing some of these fights. You know what I mean? Let's get him a license, or at least get a job at BKFC. I think he deserves it.
I think he was asking for one. He was asking for one post fight.
I hope to someday be rocking a BKFC polo and walking around here. He absolutely should get him on as an ambassador of some kind. But Casey, your thoughts on Leydon's win and the legacy he leaves behind in this sport?
I've been a big fan of Leydon. He kind of seems that he's part of that it's weird because he's actually part of that generation of MMA fandom that I kind of hate, and I kind of trashy shirts, like, hey, let's just bleed. But if you are gonna go that way, go the Chris Leydon way. Just go all out. And so that's why I really appreciate him. I don't think we're gonna see fighters like him at a high level. I don't know, in the near future. He's a rarity, and I met him a few times. Nice guy. I've been to amateur MMA shows. He's refs my friends' fights and things like that. Oh, by the way, as a ref, he in the amateur fights, he would let the fighters go out like warriors. Let me just say that. I'm like, bro, this isn't like a UFC championship fight. These are like amateur guys. That's we're good, Chris, but Chris Leydon, he's a great guy, and I'm glad. I'm just happy. He looks happy, and as a fan, it just feels nice, and I'm glad he got the win, and he seems to be in a good place, and just happy of life and where he is. So yeah, big fan.
Yeah, I agree. Good on him. Congratulations, huge win. It's the perfect way to go out, and hopefully he stays out. He's done enough in combat sports, and we can go from there. But good event overall. Do we have any other questions, thoughts on KnuckleMania?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, by the way, can I just say, because you just pulled up that comment before, the referee in that fight did a tremendous job, because I mean, I didn't even see it. But the way that dude reacted, Trent, loved the ref of the replay in the Leydon fight. His opponent kept saying it was an eye poke when it was clear as day. It was a clean punch to the eye, and that if he couldn't continue, it would be a TKO. Yep, referee did a great job there, because I was convinced he was poked in the eye until I saw the replay.
It looked like an eye poke. It kind of looked like an eye poke, but then saw the replay. And did the ref look at the replay? Either way, I don't know if he looked at the screen or like, he did one of those like.
Yeah, I think he did look at it.
The unofficial replay, instant replay, but. Yeah, it was good. I lost my train of thought. Go on.
For post fight, just kind of throw it out there. Paige VanZant just posted on her Instagram a photo of her post fight. She said, "Humble in victory, humble in defeat." That's her post fight. I don't know if she actually did the presser or not. I haven't heard, but yeah. So there you go. So still smiling, but. Kudos to her. Like I said, a lot of people doubted her going into it. And like I said, I don't know if she's ever going to be a bare knuckle superstar. I don't know if she's ever going to be a champion BKFC, but she went out there and did her thing. She showed up, and like I said, man, and I don't mean this as an insult, but like BKFC did her no favors, giving her somebody like Britain Hart, who was tough as nails and had a ton of experience. And I think it would have been better. And again, when I talked to Paige before the fight, she said, I wanted a tough opponent. I had no problem with Britain Hart being the opponent, but I think they would have been better served giving her somebody a little less experienced. But the fact that she did go 5 rounds and actually closed out the fight stronger than she started it, says well about Paige, and obviously I assume she's going to keep going to BKFC. So I think that bodes well for her future. That she, maybe she kind of got that experience under her belt. She knows what it's like now. She actually went out there and won that 5th round, and maybe she'll just do better going forward.
Yep, couldn't have said it any better.
And it looks like she knocked in a few of Britain's teeth too. When Britain was like, she knocked my teeth in. What did Britain say at the end about I am? What did she say? Like, I'm not a fighter, I'm a feeling. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not a fighter. I'm not a person, I'm a feeling.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I don't know if the edibles kicked in right after the fight or what. But that's gonna be. We kind of have this. End of the year. End of the year. I just want to make sure we remember that one. I'm not a fighter. I'm a feeling, or I'm not a human. I don't know. It was amazing. I don't know.
Yeah.
What about fear? What about fear is the pathway to the dark side, and I'm the dark side. That was awesome. That was tremendous.
Tell what you said. I said that to Mike during the show. Tell what you said. I literally cried laughing at my computer with your response.
I said I just reserved the time to get that tattooed on my chest.
Oh yeah.
I was crying laughing at that response.
I'm gonna get that in old English right here.
That's great, man.
Right below my no regrets tattoo. Yeah.
I am a Britain Hart mark. I'm a Britain Hart mark after tonight. I thought, and I thought the way they like built it up with the promo, like before the card started, they made Britain look like the ultimate babyface, and like Paige VanZant was coming in to like, destroy everything BKFC built, and Britain Hart was like defending the sport. Like I was like, wow, they like positioned Paige to be a heel here. This is interesting. But yeah. Wow, I mean, it was just a fun event.
Yeah, and a really good job just from a promotion standpoint. I felt BKFC did for promoting this main event and just the event as a whole. I mean, tomorrow's, of course, apparently there's some UFC fights tomorrow night, and tomorrow's card freaking rules. But yet, I felt, at least coming into this, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure by Monday everyone's gonna forget about how things that go. But it just felt there was more excitement for tonight's card than tomorrow's card, even though on paper tomorrow's card freaking rules. But it's just good job by Dave Feldman and the BKFC crew. That's all.
We all know, because we've all been in this sport for a long time. How hard it is to break through the kind of noise of combat sports to actually get people to pay attention. I mean, think about like a guy like Andre Ward, how great of a boxer he was. And like no one ever really watched it. Like no one cared. Like he was like one of the greatest boxers, but he could not draw a crowd. People just didn't care when he fought. And there's so many great fighters like that. Like you think about that, even UFC fighters, like you think about some of the best, and like no one tunes in to watch them. No one is buying their pay-per-views. Kudos to BKFC, whatever they're at now, whatever it is, like 16, 17 shows. They had the Artem Jason Knight fight, which everyone was talking about afterwards. Maybe not the night it happened, but afterwards they were talking about. You had Artem and Paulie, which was, I mean, anyone that says that wasn't one of the biggest fights of that year is lying. That was a massive fight. The attention paid to that fight and that card was huge. And then tonight, like the lead up to Paige VanZant's debut, I mean, that was a big deal. I mean, they've had at least three really memorable cards. And it's hard for any promotion not named UFC or even Bellator for that matter to break out with one good card. They've had three really memorable cards like that were like really buzzy and like kind of transcended the like hardcore people in the sport. Like that's an accomplishment,
And I feel like I know their fighters too. I know their stories, and that like you said, like that's an accomplishment. I feel like I knew who Reggie Barnett was. I know Johnny Bedford now more as a BKFC fighter than a UFC fighter. I know Britain Hart now. I feel like Joey Beltran's like a bigger star now. Now I'm interested in that win. It's just it's cool. I don't know. Good job.
Yes. And I've said this before we wrap things up here. Sean Wheelock is a treasure. He is a great play-by-play guy. I've always been a fan of Sean Wheelock. He does a great job. He knows the rules. He's good at educating people on the sport as well, which, there were some different things about the judging and how things worked out in the bare knuckle world that I wasn't even aware of. But Sean was very good at explaining that. And he does such a great job. Chris Lytle did a great job as well. And even Yuli Diaz when he stepped in there talking about his record-breaking KO. He did a nice job as well. But it was just a fun show. It was just a fun show.
Not that it matters, but Chris Lytle, like seriously, one of the nicest people ever in this sport. I love Chris Lytle. That guy's great, and it's so cool to see him doing commentary. He's such a good guy. He does a good job. Like I was actually really impressed by that.
I even enjoyed they did a little breakdown of bare knuckle techniques and what works in boxing and MMA and bare knuckle. They did that little video package and just good stuff. I'm very, very positive tonight. This is rare. Yeah,
it was good. Even though we had BKFC, we had Jose Canseco taking dives at Rough and Rowdy. I mean, this is a memorable Friday night. But at this point, I think we'll wrap it up here because listen, we get another day of this tomorrow. The UFC is back. UFC Vegas 18, incredible main card. I'm very excited for it. I'm excited for the 5 p.m. Eastern start time for the prelims. It's just going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to talk about it with all of you around 4:30 Eastern before the fights. We'll talk about it afterwards, and go to bed, everybody. Go to bed and bask in all of KnuckleMania's glory. Paige knows the rules now. There you go. So for Damon, for Casey, I am Mike Heck. Good night, everybody.